EWC is underway and all the groups are done. And in this video I'm gonna explain everything that happened in every group at the Esports World Cup 2026. The first day was full of best of ones with all teams performing. And the most notable thing was that Spirit lost and got sent into the lower bracket. Donk and Magix performed good, while we saw Shiro struggle a lot. And he had a few awkward misses. But the best of ones are made for upsets. But this was really the only big upset that happened. The FaZe game was close, but FaZe do FaZe things. So the game ended in 13-11 in favor of FaZe. The other big teams made sure to win their games. Vitality looked strong against 100 Thieves, and Falcons looked strong as well. Especially after m0NESY said that they did not really try that much tactic wise, so if that's true, we could see a strong Falcons in this tournament. And I want to put a little respect on Mouse. And I will say a little because they did struggle. They decided to play Dust in a best of one and we saw them struggle a lot, especially PR. But this time he put up a good CT side, so that's a big improvement for him and the team. G2 still do not look strong against weaker teams that they should have stomped. And if we saw this game at the major, we would have caught you crazy if we said that M80 would make it close. Perry Vision also looks to be struggling. I mean, losing against B8 that before this tournament lost against Virtus Pro is not the best look. Most of the other results are quite predictable and there were not that many upsets as I thought there would be. But the matches were done and the games are set up for the next few days and we will see Spirit fighting for elimination. Group A was playing on the second day and we could see who can get a big rest in for the playoffs and who had to fight for elimination. We know Spirit was in the lower bracket and they had their fight against Luminosity and they won that with ease. Even though the second map went into overtime and it became kind of close, it always felt that Spirit were just way better. Shiro kept missing some shots and he looks very off in these first two matches. But the whole team performed great and they keep the dream alive and are still in the tournament. Luminosity is out, which is not really a surprise, since their form is just shit since this roster is announced. It's the old Monty, but without Gizmi as an IGL, so that's just nothing basically. Aurora had to fight for elimination against M80 and won that. Like I predicted, the experience of the team kicks in and the team looks way better than they did in Blast Bounty. And with that, they eliminate the last American hope for this tournament. The first two teams that are going to the playoffs are Gamer Legion and G2. G2 played against Big and they looked very strong. The one map they lost, it went into overtime, but the maps they won with a big margin. The main stars of the team got activated, while in the meantime we saw the new AWPer Wrinkle still struggle a lot. Gamer Legion also looks very strong against GDRGAO. They won the match with 2-0 and they look way better than in Blast Bounty. In Blast Bounty they struggled a lot, even though Flemmer showed what he could do. And now the team just looks activated and Flemmer's performs and just the whole team performs and they look like a very strong team at this point. Aurora played against GDRGAO in a decider match for the playoffs and they won that with ease. Jimfet looked activated and Kixen and Woxic also had some great performances. They look better and better throughout the tournament and managed to reach the playoffs, so I'm really curious if they will be able to make it far into the playoffs. I do have to give credits to GDRGAO. They came through the qualifiers over Fnatic and showed some great CS from the start, and they can be proud to be saying that they were able to beat Spirit. They got sent home, but maybe we will see something of the team in the future. Spirit fought against Big for the last playoff spot in Group A. And Spirit started off bad, showing zero teamwork and only Donk was able to get some kills. In the end, Spirit made it close in the first map, but that was not enough and Big won that. In the second and third map, the rounds went both ways and the game was close throughout the series. But in the end, Spirit was the better team and Donk just looked more activated towards the end. And even Shiro was doing good, even though he did not look confident all the time. So from Group A, the teams that are going to the playoffs are Gamer Legion, G2, Spirit and Aurora. In Group B, the first teams to go to the playoffs are FaZe and Falcons. FaZe had a great match against Legacy with Twist as an MVP and the whole team was just putting up big numbers. Except Nechu, he was struggling a bit. Falcons was just doing Falcons things. They won the first map and the second map they had a lead and almost fumbled it again. But the star players were performing like they should, so they did manage to win it in the end and they joined FaZe in the playoffs. From Group B, Bad Boom was the first team to get eliminated. They got stomped on by NIP, and I do have to say it's mostly because Kaspersky was performing insane and put a 2.34 rating, and that is the end for Bad Boom in this tournament. They got unfortunate twice, first with the close match against FaZe, and then they played against a good NIP, which is kind of rare. NIP stays alive for now, but still have to play Astralis in the decider match. K27 is the other team that go home with no wins. MIBR was just a bit too strong for them, and they continue their fight in the lower bracket. It was a nice try from the team that got out of the qualifiers, but these teams may just have more experience in these type of matches. K27 can be proud of making it to the big stage and now have some experiences to reflect on. Astralis faced NIP in the decider match in Group B. Two strong teams, but NIP still have a new player to get used to. And when the match started, it looked like Astralis were going to sweep them. But NIP got back in the second map and put up a great fight to win the map. In the third map, we saw who was a stronger team, and that was Astralis. They managed to win the map with the best performance for Stair. It was a nice try for NIP, but their EWC run ends here. The last match of all the groups was between MIBR and Legacy won that match with 2-0, but that was not won easily. On both matches they got a lead and MIBR almost made a comeback on them, but on both maps they also made sure to close it, and the last map had an intense last round. With that, the teams from Group B that go to the playoffs are Astralis, Legacy, Falcons and FaZe. In Group C, Mouse and Vitality were playing the upper bracket matches to qualify for the playoffs, but both got beaten and they have to fight in the lower bracket. Vitality got beaten by a B8, and I have to give credits to B8 because they are back again, and I gave them some slack for losing recently against Virtus Pro, but especially in this match they showed no fear. The first map they already looked strong but lost in overtime, and that's mostly because when Vitality was losing they showed the experience and changed up the pace to surprise B8 to win a lot of rounds. In the second map Vitality looked strong on CT, but B8 was just stronger and showed some nice CS, and in the last map they were just owning Vitality and they made it to the playoffs. Both MPL and the young Alper Sizzy were the top performance of this match, and I'm curious what they can do in the playoffs. Mouse lost against THAT, and it is kind of the same story like with Bad Boom, except that Mouse is still in. Mouse played against an X-Flout playing like a beast, and I mean he does perform decent in all matches, but we have not seen him like this. The maps were close and so were the ratings of the teams, so THAT makes it to the playoffs as well. Mouse have to fight in the lower bracket, but you think they should be able to win that, right? The first elimination was between Chinese teams. Both of them faced each other and only one of them could stay alive in this tournament. And Lin Vision looked very strong in this match and was the team that stayed alive. The whole team had great scores and they managed to get a strong 2-0 win. One of the Thieves had to fight Perivision to stay alive, and Perivision was also just way too strong. One of the Thieves got beaten on both maps with 13-5 and the whole team got a bad score, while Perivision just looked way stronger. So I also have to give credits to them because I gave them some slack for losing to B8. But B8 is just apparently very good. So that means 100 Thieves is out and could not win a match in the main event. And Perivision keep on fighting for a playoff spot. In the decider match of Group C we have two big teams in Vitality and Mouse. Vitality played Lin Vision, and in the first map Lin Vision got owned. They almost got 13-0'd and they just about managed to get some rounds in, but still lost the map. The second map was not much better, and they also got owned on that, with all Vitality players having a good rating, and it means Vitality is also going to the playoffs. Mouse played against Perivision, and the first map was an easy win for Mouse. Perivision just never got into the game and Mouse made sure to close it. On the second map it looked like this will be a quick match as well, with Mouse taking a big lead, but in the second half Perivision made sure to make it as close as they could. But Mouse were able to close it out and qualify for the playoffs by eliminating Perivision. Perivision had some unfortunate matches by having to play Mouse and B8, who both look to be in form, but they already look much better than before, and I think they're slowly getting back to the level they were at. With that, Group C comes to a close, and the teams that are going to the playoffs are Mouse, Vitality, B8 and THAT. In Group D, the first teams to qualify were the big teams, and that is what should have happened in Group C. Na'Vi put up an exciting game to watch against the Mongols, and it was a very close start and the rounds went both ways with some missed smokes from both teams. Na'Vi showed some nice individual performance, and Wonderful had a nice score in the end. But on the second map he was nowhere and the Mongols managed to win that map. The last map Na'Vi had a good start, but the rounds went both ways after. But Na'Vi was just stronger and Wonderful recovered from that bad score on the second map and in the end put up a decent score. The whole team performed decent and together they looked strong. Furia had a good opponent in 9Z and looked back in form. When I watched them I was a bit scared that 9Z could overrun them since they are in form at this point, and if that would have happened I think that would have crushed Furia. But the Furia we saw looked to be back in form with a strong result and are in the playoffs together with Na'Vi. The first team to be eliminated was Wildcard. They did win the first map against Pain, but on the maps after they got beaten with a confident score of Pain. The whole team of Pain had a good score and go on to fight for a spot in the playoff, while Wildcard got sent home. 3D Max was the other team that got sent home. They lost against Magic and personally I expected a bit more from them. Their new player was the strongest one in this match, but also when you look at the performance of Magic you can see that they stood no chance. On the last day there were the deciding matches of Group D, with the first match being Magic against 9Z. The first map went into overtime and 10Z and AW showed some nice performance to win the map. The second map was also very close, but in favor of 9Z, and it kept being close until the end. But on the last map Magic was the team to put an end to it, and they got a spot in the playoff. An impressive show from Magic, but the last time they played 9Z they also won, so maybe they just know how to play them. 9Z are out, even though their form looked kind of good. The other decided match was the Mongols against Pain. First map was pretty close, the rounds went both ways, but in the end it was the Mongols to win it. But when it went to the second map it looked like the Mongols had everything under control, and they wanted to make sure to get that last playoff spot of the group. And the teams from the last group that go into the playoffs are Na'Vi, Furia, Magic and the Mongols. And that was it. That were all the groups from EWC. And we already know what the bracket will look like for the playoff. And we can see that most of the big teams are at the same side of the bracket. It gives me kind of Cologne vibes. I might make a predictions video about this, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching and I'll see you at the next video.